Let me get to some calls, and then we'll find out about what's going to happen with the cardboard cutouts. Dub, let's punch them up. Who we got first?
Yeah, we got Kevin in Colorado.
Kevin, what you got for me?
Hey, I want to talk a little bit about what you're talking about the Big Ten and with COVID and those kind of things. I'm a diehard Husker fan,
Yeah.
and I miss my football. But on the flip side, I see this from a different side, from a parent of a college athlete who, April 8th of this year, succumbed to this. And my son had no pre-existing conditions and was healthy as an ox. He played college baseball here in Colorado and died from it.
So how did that
And
happen?
so I look at it.
Well, first of all, condolences. That's awful. But that is off the charts outlier, right? If your son was 100% healthy, had no pre-existing conditions, what did they tell you about what happened?
Well, the virus attacked pretty much all parts of his body. Started with his brain, went into his lungs.
What was his name?
His name's Cody Lister.
And he was because I haven't heard of, and he was an athlete in a college?
He was an athlete. He played at Colorado Mesa University, Colorado.
I haven't heard anything. I appreciate you calling in. I haven't heard about any athlete at all in the entire country, to be honest, who's a college athlete that has had this happen. So where did he get it?
We have no idea. I had it. My wife had it. We got it.
And did you guys have serious issues, you and your wife?
I still have issues. I have what they call the COVID lung. My lungs are at 65 to 70%. I've developed a heart issue from it, which is being treated through medications. But like I say, if you Google my son, and it's last name's Lyster, you will see, the amount of press that my son has gotten all over the country through national media or international media about his situation. And it's not something to mess with and rush into. I love my football. I miss my football, as well as some of the other sports. But these are kids' lives we're talking about. And being the parent of a 21-year-old kid who passes from this, I just don't see us rushing into something until we have a lot more information.
Thanks for the call, and obviously condolences. What I would say in general is college kids are, in general, almost 0% chance of something like this happening to them. That doesn't mean that there can't be outlier situations where something awful happens. In general, a kid is far more likely to die of the seasonal flu than they are from the coronavirus. And that story, it is interesting and scary, I understand, to hear stories like that. And certainly I offer condolences to the family there. But I suspect that as they learn more about this virus, they are going to find out that there is something genetically that makes a small number of people particularly susceptible to this virus. And I don't know what that is genetically, but I think that's the only way to explain why almost no one who is young has major issues from this virus or even any issues at all. And then occasionally someone like the gentleman who just called in has a major issue. Who's up next?
We got Scott in Kansas.
Scott, what you got for me?
Hey, Clay, honored to speak with you. I appreciate your wait for it during these difficult times, laying out the facts for everybody. I just hope people wake up and figure out what's going on here. And that's part of the reason why I called. I have a hard time dismissing all these unelected health officials and or otherwise just mishandling or fumbling the football, should I say, on the handling of this pandemic. And I'd like for you to talk me off the cliff and tell me why it isn't some dark Orwellian sort of misadventure against humanity. I'll hang up and listen to my response.
Look, I think that the virus is real, right? Everybody out there who's saying like the virus is not real is frankly lost their minds. But all of life comes with risks. And we have to make decisions, even if sometimes awful things happen, within the context of understanding risk. And that's why for college kids in particular, yes, bad things can happen. Bad things can happen. Awful things can happen. Anything under the sun can happen. Statistically, we have to recognize between outliers and things that are statistically improbable. And so if you have a kid in college right now, that kid in college has a variety of dangers every single day. And if you're a parent, that's terrifying, right? Your kid in college is under more danger from the seasonal flu. Your kid in college is under more danger driving to and from college campus. Your kid in college is under more danger of drinking too much and dying from alcohol overdose. Your kid in college is under more danger of being murdered on campus. Your kid in college is under more danger of overdosing, of committing suicide. It doesn't mean, like a caller earlier, that bad things can't happen from the coronavirus, but we can't allow our nation to be driven and decisions to be made by entirely outlier-related stories, right? We just can't allow that to be what we determine our stories to be going forward. Because outlier stories are just that. They are things that are not usually happening to most people. In fact, we've had now hundreds of college football players who have tested positive for the coronavirus. I don't know if there's been a single one hospitalized yet. Again, doesn't mean that they might not happen, but as our caller earlier said, most of these cases seem to be spreading inside of homes, inside of households, as opposed to elsewhere. So it's just worth thinking about a little bit. Who's up next on the list there, Dub?
We got Chris in North Carolina.
Chris, what you got for me?
Hey, Clay. Thanks for being the voice of reason in this very twisted, agenda-driven media landscape. Two comments about the Big Ten and the college football playoff. One, I'm kind of waiting for the Big Ten presidents to terminate Kevin Warren and have him be the fall guy for their really bad decision-making and PR blunder. And two, yes. I haven't seen this yet, but I'm surprised the College Football Playoff Committee hasn't put more pressure on the Big Ten and just come out and merely said this: hey, you need to have an 8-game schedule completed by December 25th to be eligible for our playoff. Otherwise, I'm sorry, you can't participate in the playoff. And that would keep the Big Ten from this kind of PR game they keep playing, moving the dates around. That way the college football playoff
I don't think
force their hand.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. I don't think there's any way the Big Ten's going to be able to be in the playoff unless they decide to kick off by September 26th or October 3rd. There is no possibility of the Big Ten or the Pac-12 being in the playoff. They're going to go with the 3 major conferences they've got playing and the 3 additional minor conferences in FBS and say, hey, this is the 6 conferences that are playing. By the way, we'll continue to take your calls. I'll give you an update on the cutouts as well, by the way.